Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Savannah Chrisley reveals truth in wrongful firing. Savannah is the daughter of Todd and Julie Chrisley. While known for her Chrisley Knows Best, she is also known for her podcast, Unlocked. Recently, Savannah was asked if she would use her podcast to shed some light on her recent story, her father losing his prison chaplain job. Savannah has at times used her podcast, Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley, to discuss what it was like appearing on the show and updates concerning stories about her family. Not only has her father Todd appeared on the show, Savannah has used it to update fans over the family's various legal issues. Recently, a story has come out about Savannah's father Todd losing his job assisting a prison chaplain. Naturally, Savannah had been asked the question, "Can you talk about on your podcast why they stopped your dad from working with the chap?" The Unlocked hostess shared the following statement. "My dad was fired from the chapel due to retaliatory actions taken by staff at FPC Pensacola, specifically Mandy Ramsey. He and other men overheard her verbally abusing residents in the drug and alcohol program. His termination seems to be a direct response to the investigation into these abusive practices. This situation raises serious concerns about retaliation and the treatment of individuals who speak up against misconduct." On the Chrisley Knows Prison Reddit page, which shared Savannah's statement, many commenters were concerned with her sharing. Quite a few pointed out she could be doing more harm than good by making a statement. One user wrote she's just piling on the punishment for her dear daddy. Another felt it would impact Todd's future prison jobs. As they wrote, she just ruined any chance of her dad ever getting a cushy job on the inside. Another wrote that, "I get it, she loves her parents and wants them home, but what she's doing is just making it 1,000 times more harder for them. The golden rule, you don't speak on what goes on between them gates. And if you do, you get it to a person who no one in the system knows, so it can't come back on your loved ones." Todd's attorney, Jay Sargent, had also recently issued a statement over his client losing his prison chaplain job. Speaking with Today, he claimed there was no real reason given for Todd's termination. Beforehand, there was some speculation that Todd got into trouble for talking with inmates in the residential drug abuse program. Many of these inmates had access to the outside world. What do you think will come of Savannah's statement? Make sure you come back for all the latest reality TV and celebrity news. Savannah Chrisley has never been one to shy away from speaking her mind. From the glitzy sets of Chrisley Knows Best to the stormy chapters that followed her parents' prison sentences, Savannah has learned that silence is rarely golden. But in her latest revelation, the 26-year-old reality star isn't just talking about family woes or public perception. She's opening up about what she calls a wrongful firing that left her blindsided, betrayed, and determined to set the record straight. For months, rumors swirled online about Savannah's abrupt departure from a project she had been working on behind the scenes. Many fans speculated she had stepped away to focus on her siblings, or perhaps to shield herself from the constant media frenzy. But Savannah insists that the truth was far more complicated, part injustice, part manipulation, and part hard-earned lesson. The beginning of a promising role. According to Savannah, the opportunity came at a time when she desperately needed a new sense of purpose. With her parents Todd and Julie serving lengthy prison sentences, she had stepped into the role of caretaker for her younger brother Grayson and niece Chloe. Between balancing home responsibilities, legal updates, and a budding podcast, she was stretched thin. Yet when the offer came to work with a lifestyle brand as a creative partner and ambassador, she saw it as a chance to rebuild her identity outside the shadow of scandal. "I was so excited because it felt like someone saw me," Savannah explained during a candid podcast episode. Not as just Todd's daughter, not as someone who had to be strong for everyone else, but as a young woman who had her own ideas, her own voice, and her own worth. For weeks, she poured herself into the role, attending meetings, brainstorming campaigns, and even sketching out a line of wellness products she believed could resonate with women juggling pressure and public judgment. The sudden termination. And then, just as momentum was building, the rug was pulled out from under her. Savannah received a terse email, followed by a phone call that lasted less than 3 minutes. The message was clear. Her contract was terminated, effective immediately. I remember just sitting there in shock, she recalled. I asked why, and the response was vague. They said something about brand concerns and external circumstances, but nothing that actually had to do with my performance or my ideas. For Savannah, the word stung not because of the job itself, but because of the implication that her family's legal troubles had once again overshadowed her own identity. Behind the curtain of Hollywood politics. As she began to dig deeper, Savannah discovered that her firing was less about her work and more about perception management. Behind closed doors, executives worried that associating with the Chrisley name might spark controversy. Advertisers whispered concerns. Lawyers weighed liability. The irony wasn't lost on her. She had been hired because of her platform, but that same notoriety became the weapon used against her. It wasn't about me. It was about fear, Savannah said. They didn't care that I was showing up every day, delivering on my promises, and pushing creative boundaries. They cared about how they'd be viewed for standing next to me. In her view, the decision was nothing short of wrongful, rooted in stigma rather than substance. The emotional toll. Losing the job was painful, but what followed was worse. The creeping doubt that maybe she wasn't worthy of a fresh start. For someone who has spent years in the public eye, criticism can be brushed off, but rejection behind the scenes cut steeper. There were days when I just sat in my room crying, Savannah admitted. I felt like I was being punished for something I didn't do, and it made me question whether I'd ever truly be able to move forward, or if I'd always be chained to a past I couldn't control. Still, Savannah's resilience, honed by years of surviving scandals, re-emerged. She realized that wrongful firing wasn't just her burden to bear. It was a reality for countless others whose stories never made headlines. Using her platform for change, Savannah decided to speak up not only for herself, but for anyone who has ever lost a job due to bias, stigma, or politics. On her Unlocked podcast, she began weaving her personal story with broader conversations about workplace justice. She invited labor advocates, wrongfully fired employees, and even corporate whistleblowers to share their truths. What I went through was unfair, but I have a platform, she explained. If I stay quiet, then what about the single mom who gets fired because her boss doesn't like that she takes time off for her kids? What about the person who loses their job because of their last name, their past, or something completely out of their control? Wrongful firings happen every day, and people deserve to know they're not alone.